Well, right now tensions are high on the Korean Peninsula. North Korea threatening war as the United States holds joint military drills with South Korea. The United States has 30,000 troops more or less in a demilitarized zone. You might hear about that referred to as the DMZ. This is to protect the people of South Korea from northern aggression post the Korean War. Now, North Korea is vowing to launch a nuclear attack on the United States and has reportedly scrapped the armistice that ended the Korean War. Joining us now, Michael Singh. He's managing director of the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. And General Jack Keane is also with us, retired four-star general, former vice chief of staff for the Army and a Fox News military analyst. So, General, we just showed some of the video from these military drills. Sometimes they're called war games. Why do we do these drills with South Korea?
Well, we certainly have to be ready and prepared for any aggression that North Korea may use on the South. And militaries have to practice. And if you've got two different countries here with different armies, different procedures, they have to practice together to be good at it, because they would literally be fighting together. But, Jenna, we've been doing these exercises for almost 60 years, so this isn't something new. The degree of bellicosity and, I think, saber-rattling on this particular exercise by the North Koreans, the volume of it, I think, is a little different.
And that's why I wanted you to set the stage, if you would, for what's going on in the southern peninsula of this country. Because, Michael, as the general just says, this happens every year. The Associated Press says, though, that North Korea's words or rhetoric are more warlike than normal. What makes their comments different?
Well, Jenna, North Korea is very unpredictable. I mean, they've made threats to attack the U.S. With a nuclear strike. I think that's a bit of a stretch. It doesn't seem like they have that capability yet. But they're also making threats against South Korea, and I think those threats are much more credible, in part because of those 2010 attacks on South Korea, which you were showing video of earlier. These things have to be taken seriously. And obviously, because North Korea has nuclear weapons, because it has a relatively untested young leader, that unpredictability, that danger is higher now than ever before.
Do you agree, General Keane, more danger now than ever before?
Well, I do think there's an issue with the new leader. I mean, his father and his grandfather certainly earned the respect inside his country. I think he's still vying for some of that. I think his age certainly is probably a factor, and I believe that has something to do with the degree of saber rattling that's going on here. Certainly the other issue that's frustrating him so much is, after the last test, the nuclear test that is, and the ballistic test back in February and December respectively, he had world condemnation, and also the U.S. led an effort in the UN to increase the sanctions on North Korea, which just was passed last week. So I think that kind of public notoriety frustrates him and also contributes to some of the volume of this.
So one of the questions then becomes, Michael, is what is our response? We heard the State Department spokeswoman say that they find North Korea's actions regrettable. What else should we be doing? What else should we be saying?
Well, that's obviously diplomatic speak, but this is a very difficult problem. We've tried sanctions. There's more sanctions on North Korea than just about any country in the world, but they haven't really changed the leadership's point of view, despite sort of closing the country off to the world. We've tried talks in the past, and those have shown some promise, but they, again, haven't really changed the leadership's mind, and they haven't even convinced China to really change its approach, because North Korea is quite useful. So I think what we're trying to do really is contain North Korea, to kind of maintain the status quo.
Is that a good policy?
But I think that, frankly, I think whether they say it or not, that is the de facto policy. But look, containment only works to an extent. North Korea's nuclear arsenal is improving. They're sharing nuclear technology with countries like Syria and Iran. And, of course, they feel a certain measure of impunity to attack South Korea in conventional attacks. So it's a real problem.
Real quick, General Keane, should we be more aggressive, whatever that means, and what would that mean?
Well, everything we've tried to date has failed. I mean, Michael's right about that. These guys now have nuclear weapons, and we tried for years to stop that. But I think our strategic objective should be regime change. I'm not suggesting we do that by military force, but it should be our geopolitical objective to remove that regime and hopefully to encourage those who live under that regime and do everything that we can to eventually unify that peninsula.
General Keane, Michael Singh, great to have you both with us today. Of course, we're getting news out of North Korea almost every day now, so we're going to continue to watch this story develop and see what happens in the week ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you, Jenna.